I almost forgot that we're turning this into a show. I was just like ready to, have some fun and do the draft.
Greetings and welcome to a very special edition of the D3 Datacast. I am Matt Snyder, joined as always by Zach Snyder, my co-host. And as you can see today, we have a very special episode. We're joined by some good D3 Hoops friends here, and we're going to have a fun exercise to share with you. Before we get into that game, I want to introduce our guests. First of all, joining us is Karl Barkley from D3 Direct, D3 Direct newsletter and Twitter account and YouTube channel. Bob Quillman of the YouTube show, the QCast, also general man about town and random Twitter person, as seen on the cards. And also we have the executive director and creator of the Great Lakes Invitational Tournament. We have Ryan Whitnable. How is everyone doing today?
Excited to be here, guys. It's an honor to be on the D3 Datacast. Doing great. Looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Matt, you said this is a special episode. I like to think that they're all special episodes.
With you, Zach, they are all very, very special. But this one is going to be extra special because we are going to pick every single conference champion out there. We're going to have a game. We're going to have a draft. Okay, so here's the rules. This is going to be a snake-style draft. So the person who goes first is going to go last in the next round. On each player's turn, we're going to pick a conference and the conference champion. And once a conference is selected, no one else can pick any team from that conference, even if we disagree. So if Ryan picked Coast to Coast Conference, Christopher Newport, then later on, Bob could not say Coast to Coast Conference, Mary Washington, because that conference is already done and off the table. We have 42 eligible conferences. We're going to include the Collegiate Conference of the South. Even though they're not a Pool A team, they still have a regular season champion, so they're still in the mix here. I used the Coast to Coast Conference as an example there, but we are actually eliminating the Coast to Coast Conference because they do not play any regular season games. So Coast to Coast Conference, any independents, they're off the table. You need a regular season champion to be eligible. We have 5 participants here. We're going to do 8 rounds. That means 40 conferences will be selected. 40 conference champions will be determined tonight. We do have 42 eligible conferences, so unfortunately the last 2, the least confident 2 conferences will not be picked. We'll probably just throw those 2 out for discussion and talk about them maybe briefly at the end. And then we're going to keep track at the end of the season. Whoever gets the most correct picks wins. And we're not going to worry about tiebreaker seedings. If your team ties at the top of the conference, you get full credit for that team. They get a split championship. They get a co-championship. You get a correct pick there. So that's what it is. Does everyone here understand the rules? Is everyone good to go?
I'm good. I do think that those 2 conferences that don't get picked, I think that they should get an automatic Pool C.
Okay.
So let's float that to Luke Flakertsy, see if we can get that done. But that's possible.
Yeah, next time he's on your show, the great episode, we saw him the first time. He was talking about a lot of the good stuff. Yeah. Next time, see if you can sneak that in. Whoever's the last 2 gets a Pool C.
Let's do it. Let's do this, guys. I'm ready to roll.
Should be easy to get that through.
All right. So I put a list of our names into random.org, and it split out the following order. So Karl goes first. Ryan, you are next. Zach is third, Bob is fourth, and I am fifth. So unfortunately, the order on our screen really has no bearing of our picks, or at least the order I see them. But that's the order. And for the viewers at home, I will try to flash our kind of in the background draft board onto the screen every now and then. But I'm going to mostly keep it focused on the faces here. So with that being said, if we're all good to go, I think, Karl, you are up with your first conference champion.
Great. I'll kick things off with a team that I was lucky enough to see last year, thanks to Matt, as you mentioned, the executive director and founder of the Great Lakes Invitational, by far, hands down, one of the best D3 hoops events on the calendar all year. It's must watch, and that is the Keene State Owls at a Little East Conference. I'm gonna start off returning 2 of their best players. Dominated the conference last year, and expecting huge things out of the Owls this year.
Great pick. Crossed them off. Had them high.
Ryan's next.
Yeah, so I had a 1A and a 1B at the top of my board for this exact scenario, and Karl took 1A, Keene State, so I will go to the SUNYAC for 1B and take Oswego State.
Crap.
We're going right down my
Can we
draft
swear?
board so far.
Can we swear on the D3 Datacast? I
We
think I might
cannot.
have to swear.
We cannot.
Okay.
It's a family-friendly program.
I will go to, Matt, you mentioned them, the Collegiate Conference of the South. I will take Maryville with my first pick.
Oh, that was my ace in the hole, boys. Darn it. This draft is not going my way so far.
Hey, you're coming with the big boys, Bob.
Man,
Right.
I thought for sure I
Hey.
could get Raul's team with my pick. Darn it.
All right, that brings us to you, Bob. Yeah.
You know what? I think I'm going to go bold here. I think this is a bold place to pick this team. But just to make sure they don't last on the board, there's a certain team from the MIAA in Michigan that I'm going to take, and that team is Calvin. The Calvin Knights.
Heard of 'em. I've heard of 'em.
Pick here.
Yeah.
I believe they will win the MIAA, and it's fairly safe.
That's a great pick. I like that pick.
Good pick.
That's a good ball club right there.
All right, it's going to be my turn for two because the snake orientation of the draft here. I'm going to go to the SAA. I'm going to take Barry. I'm going to take Barry with my pick. And then starting off the second round, I'm going to go to the Landmark Conference, and I'm going to take Catholic to win the Landmark Conference.
Takes Susquehanna off the board, doesn't it? Catholic, yeah. The
Yep.
Landmark is,
That Landmark's
no
done,
more.
so yep.
yeah, like you
Yes.
guys have spread. I have chicken scratch, and I think you guys made spreadsheets and things. You know what? You guys got me on the run early here because all the teams I thought I was going to get here are not available.
18
Tell you
hours
what.
of preparation, Bob, for this. Come on.
Down the
And-
drain.
And Jack, Rowan, put it on the board.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
He's confident in Rowan. I was not. I also had Rowan, but not that confidently.
Yeah, Stockton's calling in the end, Jack.
Okay, we'll see, boys.
All right. Okay, so we're back to me here. All right. I will go with the Midwest Conference, Illinois College, Blue Boys.
Great, that's a great pick.
Okay, back to you, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Northeast and the NESCAC and take Williams off the board.
Wow.
You got him. Williams.
All right, double duty here.
Yeah, 2 picks for Carl.
Yep. Finish up round 2 and start us off for round 3.
Okay. I think I'm going to take Worcester State out of the MASCAC
That's a
here.
great pick. Again,
Yeah.
Led by
get them
Tyler
coming
Hunley.
back. Boy, now we're naming the players.
That's a
People are
coach.
prepared.
That's a
Oh,
QCast,
yeah.
future QCast appearance.
They were high on my list,
What's
too.
next?
And then just an absolute homer pick to make sure that I have him on my squad because I'm not going to draft for a minute. I'm going to go Swarthmore College out of the Centennial.
Wow, off the board.
Boy. Folks, Carl went to how you said that different than I would say that. How did you say the name of your alma mater?
Swarthmore. Some people say Swarthmore. I don't understand
I
how
think
it
it's
can be
Swarthmore.
both.
I really don't think you say the R, but we can check later. I don't
Yeah.
know. You went there.
That was a little lower on my list. I didn't know what to do with Centennial Conference, so bold
Yeah.
pick there. Bold pick.
I think with our determination that co-champions counts, I think that becomes a little bit safer pick than if you had to be an outright or if you only got
Absolutely.
half credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was my view. That was my view on the Centennial.
All right, we're to Ryan.
All right, Ryan, round 3.
A couple ways I could go here. But I think I'm going to stick to the Northwest Conference and take Whitman off the board. Defending champions last year, they bring almost everyone back off the team that won the conference by a couple games last year. I think they're the big favorite there to win.
Interesting. I had Whitworth as my NWC pick, so very interesting. That seems a little bold to me right there, but I like it.
Can we I just want to add a point here. Going through all these conferences, there are a lot of rosters that are still showing 22, 23.
Yeah.
So there's some guesswork going through here in some of these conferences. So,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we have the whole picture or landscape for some of these teams.
That's what makes this fun.
Yeah, this is purely entertainment purposes only at this point. This is not necessarily informed speculation.
That's why I texted
Oh.
about 250 coaches in Division III in the last 48 hours, boys.
Bob maxing out
All
his
right.
data plan.
Zachary.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I think with the USA South Conference with North Carolina Wesleyan.
I had that as a high option.
William Peace, Colin. The Claude Shields led squad.
I had William Peace as well.
Yeah, Ryan, I think we might have been looking at the same preseason guide or something.
How about give me Saint Norbert? NACC, right?
Yep. All right, this is me for 2, right? And now I'm second. I like spent all this time. I made these like spreadsheet lists, and now I'm second guessing it right at the last second.
Everyone has
You're
a
not going to be
plan
true to your
till they get
board.
punched in the mouth.
All right, give me Freedom DeSales.
Mac Freedom, right?
Yep,
Mhm.
Mac F. And then I'm gonna go Empire 8 St. John Fisher.
Oh,
Whoa.
Nice.
I kind of liked Utica there. Let's stay here in the state I live in on this one. SCAC, the University of St. Thomas.
Tell you what, if they dominate like they did last year, we might have another St. Thomas kicked out of a league. All
Mhm.
right. I will go with the Commonwealth Coast Conference, Nichols.
That's a great pick.
Oh,
Fun team.
I
Great social media as well.
I maybe would have selected a different team out of that conference.
Who would you have?
I was a little high on Western New England. Looking at them. I think they return a lot. I mean,
I was
Nichols
as
is always good though, so that's a good pick. I mean, it's still a really good pick. Nichols is always good.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the Upper Midwest Athletic Conference, the UMAC. I'm gonna take Bethany Lutheran.
Love it.
I know there are a lot of Hampton Sydney fans in this group, but I'm going to take Randolph-Macon
Ooh,
out of the ODAC.
Wow,
that's a very
okay.
risky pick here. Very risky.
Very risky to pick the team who's won like the last 6 ODAC championships in a row.
I trust
track,
the staff.
Strong track record pick.
Yeah, that's a judging future performance on past results, which always works. So, all right, then one more.
All right, Carl, start us off for round 5 then.
Look at this.
Yeah, this one's a little tricky here.
Yeah, that Swarthmore education. Like, look at that focus.
Just going to work.
The rest of us don't have that level of focus. Non-fancy schools.
I'm going to go with Ithaca out of the Liberty League.
I had Ithaca win in the Liberty League. I just had a little lower.
Yeah.
I struggled with that one. I wasn't quite sure.
Well, speaking of struggling, we're all like in the second half of our confidence lists, probably getting towards the bottom. Maybe have one higher up, but yeah, this is gonna be painful from here on out to pick these winners.
Yeah.
Very.
I'm gonna stick in the area that I know, the Midwest, and go to the Heartland Conference and take Anderson.
Ooh.
I had the Heartland as like the league that I wanted no part of trying to pick. To me, the ultimate hot mess of a league. Like, I don't know, Hanover, Anderson.
Anderson was a surprise last year, but they
Manchester
kind of ran away with it, didn't they? And then they bring everyone back, I think. So
They bring everyone back off the winners. So for me, that starts you pretty high.
I'm going Whitewater in the WIAC.
Wow.
Okay.
Love a WIAC call. Had them all the way at the bottom. Just don't even want any piece of that conference.
Me? Am I up?
To Bob, yeah.
Yep.
This is an obvious one. This is a team that I'm always talking about. I'm always promoting. And that, of course, is Maine Farmington.
Oh yeah.
From the NAC. You guys always hear me tweeting about Maine Farmington. Put them on the board, please.
Yep.
NAC off the board.
Yeah, you talk about them a lot on your show too, breaking down all the angles.
Been a fan since day one.
Let's go. Let's go, Maine Farmington.
All right, I get 2 selections here. I'm going to go to the new MAC, and I'm going to take WPI. They were remaining fairly high on my board. And then I'm gonna go MAC Commonwealth. I just love the MAC conference teams here. I'm going to go York, Pennsylvania.
Really?
You don't like Alvernia, do you?
I don't dislike them. I just, for the purposes of this exercise, to pick the York, Pennsylvania.
Just checking.
Yeah, I think Widener's a sneaky contender in that conference too. They're always a tough out.
They're good last year. Really good last year.
I had Eastern, so I don't know. Maybe we all had different picks in that conference.
I mean, this is round
clearly.
6 out of 8, so yeah. Yep.
And we're all lost.
Is it back to me?
All right, back to Bob. Yep.
Back-to-back Texas picks. This is, to me, this one's like a 50-50. But we're going to go with Coach Cliff Carroll. And we're going to go with Mary Hardin Baylor to win the ASC.
Who was the 50-50 with?
ETBU.
Okay, I know you like ETBU. Yeah. What do we think about Hardin Simmons, though? Are they in the mix?
Yeah, they're probably third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And UT Dallas will be okay?
I think UT Dallas is fourth-ish.
Okay.
But I think Mary Hardin Baylor would, to me, be the favorite, and I'm willing to take that gamble at this round.
So the
Well-
ASC was one that I decided I didn't really want anything to do with. I ended up going with ETBU, and I started feeling better about that because this afternoon, I don't know if you guys saw, but the coaches poll did come out,
Right.
and ETBU was picked first.
Wow, coaches
Hardin
poll.
Baylor is
Okay.
second.
But yeah, and UT Dallas was fourth.
Okay.
Hardin Simmons was third.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
TB
if
is
there's
really
anyone
good.
I trust to have their finger on the pulse of ASC basketball, though, it's Riley Zayas, and he was quick to point out that he didn't think it matched what he thought would happen in the league. So I like the pick, Bob.
I feel good about Mary Hardin Baylor.
all right. Well, all right. Looking at what's left, there's kind of one that's sticking out to me on my list here, and that's LaRoche in the AMCC.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
good pick.
Yep.
I was gonna get him.
Stole my pick. I'll stay in Region 7 and go to the President's Athletic Conference and take Washington and Jefferson.
I am gonna go to the ARC and take Dubuque.
Oh, I hate this pick, Carl, because Loris is going to win that league by 2 games.
We'll see.
By 2 games.
We'll see. That's why we play.
They got
That's why we.
Tough league
They
to
got
pick.
they got good players come back, and then they got this kid from Wartburg. I'm telling you, the Wartburg kid is the real deal. So I don't
Love
know,
it.
Carl. You may have just lost this thing.
I'm
Hey, and
banking
Cole
on the
made-
tie then.
Co made the run through, to win the Pool A as the 6th seed there, and it looks like they have a lot coming back too.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I'll
high
tell
on
you
Co.
what, the American Rivers was one. I didn't want anything to do with the American Rivers Conference and trying to pick anything there. So hey, good on you, Carl.
Hey, willing to take risks here. Speaking of, I'm going to go with Newman out of the AEC next.
Hello,
Newman.
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 Was that the AEC?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the Skyline Conference
No.
and take the latest guest off of
No.
the QCast and take Yeshiva.
That was the best pick available on my board.
Wow.
Right there. Love that pick.
Yeah. All right. I wasn't as quite as confident, but I had Yeshiva pegged in as who my pick would be there. All right. Let's see. What do I have? What am I looking at here? I will go to the UEC and take Lancaster Bible.
That's a good one. I'm going to trust the program, trust the coaching staff, trust the reloading process. Let's go to the GNAC. Give me St. Joseph, Connecticut.
That's a good one.
I'm just interested to see what their team's going to be like this year.
Yeah, no clue.
Completely new. But yeah,
No
obviously
clue.
a good program now and good coaching staff. So I think you're right about
Good
that.
system.
Well, they completely built a program, so completely building a team shouldn't be that difficult.
Right.
This is me for 2 picks. I'm gonna take Redlands. Redlands out of the SCIAC.
Okay.
Wow.
I heard they're getting pub for top 25 consideration. And then let's just do it. Let's just do UAA NYU.
Whoa.
You're wild, Matt.
Yeah, to me that's a tough league to pick right there.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I like the NYU. Yeah, NYU is my pick to win the league.
That's my last
Speaking
pick,
of-
so I'm gonna do it.
Speaking of tough leagues to pick, Bob, be bold. Do it.
I'm gonna go. Is this my last
Pick. And
Last
this is a moment of glory for everyone here.
Okay.
Bob?
I spent some time with the gentleman in Fort Wayne last year. I believe in him. I believe in his program. Shouts to Abe Waldis-Lassie. Give me McAllister, baby, in the MIAC. Abe, let's go.
Great coach, better person.
Okay, my last pick from the Cognac, Baruch.
Solid.
Love it.
4 leagues left.
Ryan, you
Stay
gonna
in
do it?
Region 7.
Okay, he's doing it.
I'm going to pick Wabash out of the North Coast Conference.
Oh, not the
Wow.
league I thought.
Nice.
Good pick.
I was thinking of going there with my last pick, going slightly off script, but I didn't.
Last pick of the
Last
draft.
pick of the draft here, Carl.
This is
Mr.
it. This is where the money.
Irrelevant.
This is where the money's made.
This is Brock Purdy. Get ready. This is the one that's going to win it for me. Because Ryan couldn't do it, I'm going to go John Carroll out of the OAC.
You know what? That's interesting.
that's the pick.
When you talk about, great leagues have great depth.
Yep.
The OAC was the last pick, and the CCIW did not get picked.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and UAA was in the last round, so we had a lot of these big time leagues with a lot of quality at the top, and we had them toward the end here.
Okay, so do we want to go? You want to go in reverse order and just say, so the two that weren't picked were the
Slyak.
CCIW and the SLIAC, right? So
Yeah.
if any of us were forced to make a pick in those two, which way are we going? You want to go in reverse order? Matt, you start us off.
Yeah, I think I still have Carthage written down as maybe my nominal leader in the CCIW, but I've mentioned other teams could win that league as well or be in the mix there. And SLIAC, I have no idea. I wrote down Eureka, but like they could be. I have no idea.
All right, how about Mr. CCIW himself?
Slyak, I like the Gorlocks.
Okay.
Webster.
Yeah.
And the CCIW, I think the margins are razor thin here. I've been on the Carthage train all off season. I'm going to stay with Carthage. I think between Carthage, North Park, and who's ever number third, or 3 and 4, I think it is very, very close. But I'd take Carthage.
Okay, so my pick, had I had to make one in the CCIW, was going to be North Park. And in the SLIAC, I had Webster.
Yeah, for me, CCIW, I pulled the trigger on Illinois Wesleyan. I think Bob's maybe sandbagging a little bit on the Titans. They bring a lot back. They also bring
We're very
in
short this year. We're 6'1" across the board, and we're not very athletic.
Yeah,
So
yeah, can't shoot either, right? And
shoot it.
No ball handling whatsoever.
no, very bad point guard.
Yeah.
JUCO guy. Yeah.
Slyak, I agree with most of you guys. I took Webster as well there.
Okay.
Yeah. I had North Park in the CCIW, and then just to mix it up, I had Fontbonne in the SLIAC.
pick. That's a good pick.
I mean, it seems like Fontbonn's always right there, right?
They usually are. Yeah.
Any picks that you wildly disagreed with were surprised they were so soon, or you had a completely different team? I don't know if we want to just go around the room. Maybe start with Ryan. Did you have any picks that you were surprised to see other people make?
Yeah, I know that Redlands is getting a lot of love in the SCIAC this year, and I think Redlands is going to be really good. But I think Pomona Pitzer still brings back a lot off that championship team last year. And I think, a lot of us in Fort Wayne last year were sitting around tables and talking about, Pomona Pitzer could have, made a deeper run last year. And I think, they're going to be in the conversation for, a second weekend again this year.
And CMS. I think CMS is ready to roll, and it sounds like Redlands has some very key injuries, and that news didn't make it to the wires in time for this draft.
I only texted
Sorry.
100 coaches. I didn't text as many coaches as you texted. So
Redlands has some very key injuries. They're still going to be fantastic, but I'm not quite sure what I think of Redlands versus CMS at this point. So that's close. For me, I think Whitworth. This is probably a wait till the rosters come out. I think Whitworth is looking like a 50-50 with Whitman. So I like the Whitman pick. I think that's a kind of a coin flip.
Carl, anyone for you that you were surprised to see off the board so early or in a completely different team?
Yeah. I mean, well, one, I would say, I guess maybe not surprised given the context on what Bob was saying about beating Abe, but I had McAllister down, and I thought that would be kind of controversial, but good to see that there's a growing consensus about what Abe's building in that program out there. And then I know there's a lot of hype after the run that Whitewater made last year, but I just still feel like Oshkosh is the team to beat in the WIAC. And Coach Lewis is proven he's one of the best at our level. And I just feel like, they're still the team to beat for me out there.
Yeah, that's a program that could easily just reload and be right back in the mix, right? So we wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Yep.
Zach, what about you?
Matt, I'm a little surprised at how early you went with some of your picks. I think I agree with DeSales in the MAC Freedom, but that was a little bit early. In the MAC Commonwealth was one that I had a hard time making sense of, so I'm surprised to see you didn't make that like a last pick. I
think for me, I was maybe a little high on UW Superior as a potential option in the UMAC. I think they were a good team last year. I think they're going to return a lot. So I know Bethany Lutheran was like on top last year and had a really good tournament run and everything. I'm looking UW Superior at maybe a UMAC champion.
Interesting.
They were maybe top
They were-
half of my list. Yeah.
They were my pick as well, Matt. That was
Okay.
who I had. And also,
I do have one more that went earlier. So I also had Rowan in the NJAC, but it was Bob. Second round was way earlier than I would have considered them. I had a hard time with them because it seemed like they do lose a lot of seniors. But if you go to more like a statistical view, a lot of their top producers were juniors. So that's why I was comfortable going with Rowan. But I don't know, just like especially in that conference, I just wasn't as confident in them being the ones that actually emerge. And there's a coaching change there as well, I believe. So
There is a coaching
I
change.
I did end up with Rowan. They were, bottom half in terms of confidence for me.
I will say that my draft board got blown up very early because I thought I could get Maryville or Barry with that second pick, and I was sitting on those, and then they went, and it's possible I reached on Rowan there. I'm gonna stay with them, but
We got you flustered, huh?
yeah, my board got blown up very early. I'll tell you that right now. I wanted Maryville or Barry.
We knew that there were going to be two conferences that wouldn't get picked. I'm guessing, maybe there were two that you just knew under no circumstances you were going to pick. Like what were the two that you wanted no part of? Let's go. Let's start with Carl.
I had the UAA and the WIAC all the way at the bottom, and the NESCAC too was not far off. So I was impressed and shocked by Ryan's second round with Williams. That was bold.
Yeah, Williams was a little higher than I would have picked too, but I think that's the pick that makes sense to me. It wasn't maybe crazy high for me, but yeah, I think I like Williams in the NESCAC.
Yeah, I had settled on Williams, and then it was helpful to hear Mike Rainiak kind of break down the NESCAC, and he was pretty confident that Williams was in NESCAC title or bust mode, so I felt better about that. Ryan, are there two that you just wanted no part of?
Yeah, the UAA, and I think we all probably echo those same thoughts. And I think looking at Bob's poll on Twitter today, I think kind of echoes the confusion there. I actually had Washington University, WashU, as my pick there. I just have a weird feeling about them this year, and what they bring back. And then for me, I really didn't want to pick my own conference. I have John Carroll sitting there. I think they're the favorite, but they're 1-2 with Mount Union, and then the CCIW is really tough to pick this year.
Yeah, for me, the UAA was one. Just going through the exercise, at least knowing that I didn't want to pick anyone, I went with Case Western Reserve. I know the transfer situation's a little bit unknown, but I think the way they're doing it with kind of known commodities in the D3 landscape, I think they'll be all right. And then the other one, I think I mentioned it during the draft, was the American Rivers. So I settled on Co. had I been forced to, but I knew that I wasn't going to be forced to with at least two conferences here. So I wasn't sweating it too much.
Bob, what were you
For
looking
me,
to?
yeah, the two that I had like stay away from the HCAC. I think Ryan, who did you take? Was it Anderson?
Anderson, yeah.
I think they are the favorite. It seems like that league is always so bunched up. You got you got Anderson, Manchester, Hanover, some others. I just had no feel for picking. I didn't feel confident in the HCAC. And then the other one, the UAA is a given, so everyone's talked about that. But the NCAC, because I think Worcester and Wabash are like a coin flip.
Yeah.
And so to me, taking either one of those two felt risky when I wasn't clear between Wabash and Worcester who the favorite is. So I wanted to stay away from the NCAC.
Yeah,
Wabash brings back so much that it's compelling. I understand why that was the pick, but I would agree with Bob.
Some of them, though, just the way that we had it set up, where as long as you can get a co-champion, like it works out. If there were like two that I felt really strong about, I didn't back that off quite as much as, like, for me, the UAA and the ARC, it was like, you could be talking 3, 4, 5 teams. So I was like, I don't know.
My
Matt?
bottom two were the Cognac. I did write down Baruch, which I think was the pick by Zach. I just didn't have a lot of sense of what to make out there. in New York City. And Northwest Conference was also toward the bottom of my list, particularly those two, Whitworth and Whitman. You can kind of go back and forth most years. I did write Whitman, which I think was Ryan's pick. He had them third round. They were one of my bottom two. I guess Zach's right with the idea of maybe a co-champion in the mix there, that I could have picked that conference a little higher. But and I would have done Whitman, which was the pick, but I was just a lot lower on them.
Love it. Here's a question for the group. How many conference champions is going to win this group? How many do you need? What's
question.
the winning number?
So we all picked
We all
eight.
have 8.
I think
I would.
if you
so
got
you're gonna have to have
6, you got
6.
really good, right?
Yeah, I think
it's
6 wins it. Yeah, I like 6.
I doubt anyone gets 7. Do you think?
You don't think so?
I doubt anyone gets 6.
Really?
I was going to say over under 4.5 could be enough.
This will be interesting. This will set the bar for doing this year after year, and I don't know what to expect. Yeah, I don't know if like 5's a great number.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I think someone will get 5. I definitely think someone will get 5. I would think someone will get 6. I don't know that very many will get 6. Probably no one gets 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
So this puts me on the main Farmington web streams all year, though.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of tweets about Maine Farmington.
Who's got the most diverse time zones now that they have to follow? Someone.
Shoot, probably Ryan.
Right.
I got Whitman. Yeah.
So you have Midwest, you have East Coast. Yeah, covered.
But to Ryan's earlier point, we haven't seen we've maybe seen half, 3/4 of the rosters at this point. There are teams that just you don't even know what's going to be playing for them, and you got to be picking the teams. Those of us who are top 25 voters, we don't even have the information packet from d3hoops.com. We've been starting our early prep for the poll voting, but that's not going to go up for like another week or so. So this is very early. This is very silly. This is more intended for fun than accuracy. But whoever does win is probably going to get a big prize, and we'll get a big shout out for next year, and we'll maybe get the first pick next year. We'll have to see.
The winner gets to set the Great Lakes Invitational matchups for next year, right?
Wow.
Sweet.
I did hear that as well.
Bob, you said this helped you prep your top 25?
Absolutely. This forced me to dig into every single league to some degree. And there's a couple little things that I came out of this that probably tweak how I look at the top 25. I mean, there's a couple things like, oh, I forgot about that. So this was a lot of fun. It was good.
I'll add, I think this made the top 25 ballot worse because as you get into that 20 through 25 spot, I went from having 20 teams in consideration to 30 after prepping for this. So
yeah. And I never know what to do with either this exercise or in the top 25. You get those leagues where the best team doesn't return hardly anyone, but then you get like a team who was 4th and they return a whole bunch. And how do you weigh that from a team who wasn't, like if you return a whole bunch of players from a team who wasn't really that good last year, does that mean you're good because everyone's back? Or does that mean you're still not really good because you're bringing everyone back from a kind of a mediocre team? And I have no idea how to weigh that. I'm not sure anyone on this call does, but if anyone has any thoughts, I would love to hear it.
Well, it's kind of like this is from a really good league, but like McAllister, I don't know. I can't remember where did McAllister finish in that league. They didn't
I think they
win
were
it.
4th, yeah.
So yeah, 4th, and they return almost their whole team. Although again, I've said this on another thing, they have a major injury that still hasn't floated out there. That is a big injury, but that's your example, Matt, is like McAllister. So they return everyone from a team that finished 4th. I'm a believer that returning everybody is a huge deal. To me, you return everyone from a 4th place team and 1, 2, and 3 lose a bunch, you should be picked to win the league. That's how I look at it. We'll see.
It seemed to me, not that we need to like totally break down the MIAC, but St. John's has a lot coming back as well. So it was tough for me. Like I knew prepping for this, Bob, that you would be inclined to pick McAllister, and I was looking through it, and I wasn't confident enough to know that or to think that I would probably end up picking the MIAC. But I did have St. John's written down just because as I was digging into it, I was like, they do have a lot coming back too.
And they're the best program in the league, period. I mean, now that St. Thomas is gone, there's one clear best program at St. John's. Picking them, sure, that'd be a great pick.
All right, guys. Well, this was fun. I think we're about wrapped up for now. We will obviously keep track of this all season long, and at end of the season, regular season championships. Remember, we will put some social media out about who won this, and I'm hoping we can get together next year and do this as well. Hopefully, you guys are all game for it. All right, good.
Thanks,
We'll see you.
guys.
Good job, team.
Thanks.
You guys, the GLI.
Well, Matt, that was a ton of fun. I don't know how well I'll do in our fantasy contest there. I'm not sure I'm going to win it. I'm just hoping I don't embarrass myself and totally lose it, come in last place. But our thanks to Ryan, Carl, and Bob for joining us, and a special thanks to the people listed here on the screen as our supporters on Patreon. For more information on how you can join them as a supporter, head to patreon.com/D3Datacast. And a special shout out in this episode to Dan Tomey, our newest member at the Great Job Team tier.
Thank you so much, everyone, for the support. Good job, team. Great job, team.